Good morning, students. For 7th standard, today we are going to see the Unit 2 poem part. Your poem is Courage, which is in the term 3. Okay, the name of the poem is Courage. So, the Courage poem's author is Edgar Albert Guest. Edgar Albert Guest. Let's have a small introduction about the author. So the author born time was 1881 up to 1959. So Edgar Albert Guest was a prolific England-born American poet who was popular in the first half of the 20th century and became known as the people's poet. His poems often had an inspirational and optimistic view of everyday life. So his poems were very inspirational and also it is very optimistic. So this is the introduction of the poet. Now we will move on to the poem Courage. So here we have 4 stanzas and we will see each stanza one by one. Okay, so let's see the first stanza. Courage isn't a brilliant dash, a daring deed in a moment's flash. It isn't a instantaneous thing, born of despair with a sudden spring. It isn't a creature of flickered hope or the final tug at a slipping rope, but it's something deep in the soul of man that is working always to serve some plan. Okay, so here in this particular para, near to that para, we can see the picture of Malala. Okay, so we all heard about Malala Yousafzai. So she is she does a lot of effort for the girl education, where she is very soft and a delicate personality, and she also won a Nobel Prize for her commitment towards the girl child and their education. So she is very patient and she is very courageous. She is a very good example for courage. So, in that particular paragraph, so what the poet wants to tell us, courage is not a brilliant dash. That is, it is not a very clever dash, it is, and a daring deed. Daring means taking up a challenge. So, deed means a particular thing that will happen in a moment's flash. So it is not like that just for a flash something will be happening. It is not at all not like that. It isn't an instantaneous thing. So again the poet wanted to tell that courage is not an instantaneous thing. Instantaneous means at that moment. So at that particular moment, it is not instantaneous also. Born of despair with a sudden spring. So it is not born of despair. Despair means state of losing all hope. So a person, if he is in the state of losing all the hope, so at that time courage will not appear suddenly like a spring season. Okay, that's what the poet wanted to explain. It isn't a creature of flickered hope. So flickered, it means shone unsteadily. So shining will be in an unsteady way. So the shining of the creature, that is a small living thing, that shiningness will not create just like that for the creature or the final tug at the slipping rope. So this rope is very slippery, and at that time we have a final tug. Tug means when we are pulling out the rope very hard and also very quickly. So the courage not comes like that, but it is something deep in the soul of man. But the courage is nothing but it is found in the deep, Deep means inside the man's soul. Okay, soul means the consciousness from the heart, whatever the person thinks. So, from there, the courage will arrive, not from all the above mentioned things. That is working always to serve some plan. So, always the courage will work out to serve some plan. So whatever the plans may be, to fulfill that plans, the courage will work and it will come out from the soul of the person, from deep from the heart of the person. So that is the first stanza. Now we will move on to the second one. Courage isn't the last resort in the work of life or the game of sport. It isn't a thing that a man can call at some future time when he is apt to fall. If he hasn't it now, he will have it not. When the strain is great and the space is hot, for who would strive for a distant goal must always have courage within his soul. So, what the poet is telling is courage is not the last resort, it is not the last place. Okay, courage will not be the last place. So, courage, it should be continued till the end of the life. In the work of life or the game of sport. So in the game of sports, so in your sports you can see many games, and also like that in your life we face many challenges and we have many works. So there the courage is not the last place to be ended with or to be started. It isn't a thing that man can call. So whenever the man is likes or tends to call the courage, it will not just come like that. It is not the thing that the man can call at some future time when he is apt to fall. So sometimes in future, okay, the man, a person will have that will have a situation where he will fall down. So apt is it is a suitable in particular situation. Okay, suddenly if he's going to fall down, at that time the courage will not work out. If he hasn't it now, he will have it not. If you are not having the courage right now, you will not at all have the courage forever. That is what the poet is trying to explain. When the strain is great and the pace is hot. So when you are putting a lot of strain means a difficult situation. So when the strain is great, so your strain is very heavy and also your space is very hot. Space means the speed at which the distance to achieve your goal takes place. That is also very heavy and that is also very hot. At that time, we will not call the courage at that time. For who would strive for a distant goal? That is, your goal should be very futured goal. It should be it should have plenty of time in between, so that we call it as distant goal. So we have to strive very hard. Strive means working very hard, must always have courage within the soul. So the person who falls down and again he wakes up, and again when he go boldly and face the challenges around the world, is said to be as the courageous person in the world. That is, even after many failures, the person should be able to stand and walk up, and again, you have to face the challenging world. So, that we call it as the courageous person. So, here in this particular stanza, they have shown the picture of Nelson Mandela. So we all know who is Nelson Mandela. So Nelson Mandela has fought for their people for a longer time for their freedom. So he is the best known person who is very courageous and who becomes a role model for everyone. So we will move on to the next stanza. Courage isn't a dazzling light that flashes and passes away from sight. It's a slow, unwavering, ingrained trait with the patience to work and the strength to wait. It's part of a man when his skies are blue. It's part of him when he has work to do. The brave man never is freed of it. He has it when there is no need of it. So, here in this stanza, they try to explain that courage is not a dazzling light. So, it is not like a shining light. Whenever it is shining, it will be bright, and whenever it's not shining, it will be dull. So, it is not like the courage is not like the dazzling light that flashes and passes away from sight. So, what the dazzling light will do, it will flash and also it will move away from our view, from our sight. So it is not, courage is not like that. It's a slow, unwavering, ingrained trait, which means it is a very slow thing and also unwavering. So it is not moving ups and downs. It will not waver at any time. It will be in a steady way and also ingrained trait. Ingrained means firmly established and hard to change. So it is very, very hard to change if we are very, very courageous person with the patience to work and the strength to wait. So we should have that patience. So always we should be very, we should be very, very patient, and we have to wait for the things to be happened. We should not be very hard to do all the things very quickly without any steadiness, and we should have the same strength to work very hard. It is a part of a man when his skies are blue. So, when our opportunity is there, at that time, it will be courage will be the part of the man to showcase ourselves in before the challenging world. It's part of him when he has to work to do. So whenever you have the work that you have to do for the people, at that time the courage will be the part of you. The brave man never is freed of it. Always the brave man will not leave the courage in any situation. He will be uh, he will be uh, he will be tightly holding the courage with himself. That is what the poet is explaining in this line. The brave man never is freed of it. He will never leave the courage for any reason. He has it when there is no need of it. So even though he don't have the need of the courage also, he will be having and he will be holding the courage with himself. Then, near to this particular stanza, we can see the picture of Aung San Suu Kyi. Okay, Aung San Suu Kyi, and she is under the home arrest in the place Myanmar, and she was fighting for her people continuously by being at home, and she is under the home arrest. So she is doing many favors for their people of their country. So she is very courageous person who set an example in her real life. So that is what her picture has been given near this third stanza. Then we will move on to the fourth stanza. Courage was never designed for show. It isn't a thing that can come and go. It's written in victory and defeat, and every trial a man may meet. It's part of his house, it's part of his hours, his days, and his years. Back of his smiles and behind his tears. Courage is more than a daring deed. It's the breath of life and a strong man's creed. So here in this example, they have shown your or father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi. We all know Mahatma Gandhi is one of the greatest freedom fighter who has been reminded till now, and he set an example for the courageous person for challenging the world. So we will see the last stanza. Courage was never designed for show, for showing something or for designing something for the showcase. Courage is not there. It isn't a thing that can come and go. So courage cannot be stuck to with the person, or it cannot leave the person just like that. So it is not the thing which will come closer to the person and leave that person. It's written in victory and defeat. So whenever you win a particular goal, or whenever you lose, this particular courage will not go forever. It will be returned along with the victory, along with the defeat. And every trial a man may meet. So whatever the trial, whatever the challenges that you face in the day to day life, it is returned with the victory and also the defeat. So we have to face them with the courage. It's part of his hearts, his days, and his years. So whenever we are passing our days, passing the hearts, and also passing the years, so we should pass our life with courage. Back of his smiles and behind his tears. So there will be joys and sorrows in each and every person life. So at the back of our smiles, as well as at the back of our tears, courage plays a major role that a man have to trial in his lifetime and whenever he meet it. Courage is more than a daring deed. Okay, whatever the challenging thing is there, courage is more than a daring deed. So, whatever the challenge, action, whatever you take it in your life, the courage will be should be more than your daring deed. And also, courage should always be the breath of the life and strong man's creed. So, whatever the man's beliefs or principles, it should be very strong. It should be, and also the courage should be, where it should be the breath of the life. The life's breath is fully dependent upon the courage of the person that he have with him. So this is a very good poem where it explains about the courage. Okay, so here we have to understand about the word courage and the brave. So brave means the person who is very bold and he is very ready to do all the things. So that particular person is called as your brave person. So he will not get frightened for anything. He will do the things in a bolder way. But when you take your courageous, even after falling so many times, they will awake from that particular sorrow things and they will achieve more. So that is the difference between brave and the courage. So the courageous person have many failures in their life, and even though they have faced so many failures in their life, they will try to come up in their life again and again. So they will struggle with the life, and they will take efforts to get away from the sufferings of their life, and they one day they will achieve their greatest goal of their life. So those particular people only have given as the example for you. So the first girl who the picture that has shown is Malala Yousafzai, and she has fought for girls' education, women's education, and then Nelson Mandela, who fought a lot for their people, for their freedom. And next you can see Aung San Suu Kyi, She also fought for her people for so many years without leaving her goals down. And also Mahatma Gandhi, who was struggling a lot for Indian freedom, and these all people set a greatest role model for all the people till today. So we should create our own courage in our life. Okay, thank you, students. Hope you all understood this particular poem. Learn well, take care. Thank you, students.